job aids, and most recently, the ambitious accomplishments of the curriculum-based development design. They have recounted the honors of past president of NSPI, holder of the Covenant Member for Life, and being elected to the HRD Hall of Fame with NSPIers Tom Gilbert, Bob Maker, and Gary Rumler. But Joe's favorite introduction he told me this evening was once he's introduced as now our speaker, Joe Harless, who is in the twilight of a mediocre career. Long-term NSPIers know that Joe likes to give people nicknames. People in turn have also given him nicknames, some that I cannot repeat this evening. Bob Maker calls him Dr. Bubba. Tom Bullock is often calling him Massive Lana, actually to his face. His associates at Harless Performance Skill often ask each other in hushed tones, what would the wizard think about that? But better known to Clom than that I've asked to speak about our future. Ladies and gentlemen, the Wizard of Newnan, Georgia.
10,000. Thank you. May the farce be with you. May ye write 10,000 job aids. May you have a job when you get home. May ye please stand. Help me summon my totem animal from the cosmos to be with us tonight. Please repeat this incantation after me. O great carnivore.
O great carnivore.
We seek truth.
We seek truth.
We seek wisdom.
We seek wisdom.
We seek 10,000 victories.
We seek 10,000 victories.
For the Crimson Tide. Wizard says I have a pathology of the brain. She wants to have me committed. May a dirty Mongol sit on your breakfast. She thinks it's abnormal I dress this way and summon my totem animal with incantation. She also says that I should stop telling the future, or at least telling people that I can do that. At least I should stop claiming that my visions come to me in the form of newspaper headlines. Which they do. Behold, tomorrow's headline. I conjured this headline before President Addison even decided to invite me for tonight's occasion. Roger, will you confirm that? Say yes, Roger.
Yes, Roger.
I show ye this to prove to you and to Mrs. Wizard I'm a true prophet and not a complete fraud. Some would say that makes me an incomplete fraud. Speaking of fraud, I must warn ye of false prophets among us this very evening. Ye will know them by their beards. These are but three of the pretenders who purvey false messages from behind their real beards. Their number is legion. Not to undergeneralize that false prophets are only bearded men. Wizard now in much trouble. Speaking of trouble, I need you to help me with Mrs. Wizard's intention to send me to the home for psychotic psychics. After hearing my prognostications tonight, I'll ask you to vote on the matter. Now, I inherited precognition ability from Mother Wizard, who also visioned in headlines. For example, she had this vision during her labor. Madam, save that for my scrapbook. She always said she'd sooner forget that day. On the very day of my birth, I had my first vision of the future. Behold, Chef Liebler. Dr. Liebler, would you please stand? Okay. Jeff Liebler, you probably know as an experienced performance technologist and former president of NSPI, but we call him with some affection, Bayback Hog Ribs. He's catered many fine revolutions. Revolutions are nothing new to me either. Mrs. Wizard says I've been revolting for a long time. Indeed, my revolutionary zeal was evidenced early, even in grammar school. My chagrined teachers predicted I'd grow up to be vice president. I just figured we should spell it like we say it in my part of the country. My scrapbook reveals further evidence of a revolutionary academic career. For example, colleagues, ye wouldn't be here tonight if a certain event had not transpired. I switched to psychology. Otherwise, NSPI today would be the National Society for Physics Improvement. Hey, y'all are indeed lucky I couldn't get them formulae in my head. Because being in the psych department, I was then positioned to foment our field's first major revolution since Pavlov, or one of them old boys. As an aside, colleagues, I would like to also apologize to Ann Parkman for inadvertently also documenting that unfortunate incident. Ann, did you ever get your clothes back? Yes, it was I who invented program instruction. When I was a sophomore, I even predicted an entire society would be devoted to program instruction. I astounded the educational world with our very first funny-looking little book. I bet ye young NSPIers didn't know this was the first name program instruction tech. You can look it up. Here is a frame from my very first funny-looking little book. Could I ask President-elect Kathleen Whiteside to please rise? I want to illustrate this frame and also, at the same time, give the test that I have given to 30 residents of NSPI, please complete the frame. Theory, relativity, E equals mc squared. I still marvel that these students get the right answer every time. You'll never forget how it is. Then the second frame would be taking care, of course, not to overview the student. Notice that I also craftily personalized the content for the student. That was a motivational part. And finally, the criterion frame. Someone at Dr. Detterline's table explained to him that these are non-examples of good frames. And while we're at it, would you someone explain to Dr. Geis what a non-example is? But alas, my critics said all this was too boring and slow for the student, so I then invented accelerated learning. An illustration of accelerated learning. Ready? Why did not precipitate an educational revolution with well-framed techniques like that? Then another oracle from the South told me why not. Talk about a revolutionary. By comparison, this wizard of wizards makes me seem like a dean of education. Well, perhaps not that conservative. Anyway, the Wizard of Wizards showed me how to write methodical exercises. For example, here is an authentic exercise penned by Prophet Tom himself, illustrating the renowned backward chaining technique. Behold! That exercise within the followed by this. Ye better have gotten the right answer. I'll tell you that damn straight. And finally, about every 6 months, Father Tom makes me take this exercise. No wonder I have this tiny ego. If Wizard Tom is here, would you please stand so we can give you your due accolades for exercises like this? Father Tom here. Yeah. Program instruction, accelerated learning, nor hanging around with Guru Gilbert got me much notice. To become famous, I needed to be the first with a new theory. So I put myself into a trance, and here are some new theories I conjured up, but alas, rejected. Trickle-up economics theory was inspired by Robin Hood. But to take from the poor and give to the rich, ironic that Reagan and Bush implemented this theory many years later. I tell you what, old President Bubba fixed that faster than you can say geography. Theory of feed forward means to tell the student in advance that they're going to screw up. Then you give them deliberately confusing instruction to confirm your prediction. The students didn't think that too funny. Neither did ye. Adipose expectoration theory was about weight loss. In layperson's terms, adipose expectoration theory says, if it tastes good, spit it out. Yes, this was the color of my financial situation at the time. There I was, colleagues, already 26 years old, and no revolutionary new theory. I thought perhaps then that another academic degree might give me impetus for a fame-making theory, so I entered a doctoral program and spent many hours, days, weeks, months, years, sitting, listening to old dudes drawn on and on about correlations and coefficients, history of the overhead projector, till my head was numb, and so were nether parts of my anatomy. A new theory came to me in a flash of mind-bottom connection. As can be seen, we can thank fellow graduate student Little Susie Markle for giving us the name of rear-end analysis. Now all grown up, let's give Susan a round of applause. Her name is Susan. Go and send no more, Susan. As you know, rear-end analysis says that acquisition of knowledge is affected by sitting position. And teachers should encourage students to be whole buttocks. Sit up straight, boy. We manifest rear-end analysis in a book called An Ounce of Agony, or something like that. Book sold 9 copies. Others were getting recognition for their version of rear-end analysis. What's his name here? Wrote a thing called You Really Ought to Wanna Buy This Book. It sold 9 million copies. Someone suggested I wasn't catching on because I was too hostile. Can you imagine that? So I took on a business partner known for his gentle and caring demeanor. I married your drastic change to get me cited in literature. I took his advice. Would someone explain to Danny Langdon what norm reference means? I got tired of everybody shouting when I walked into the bar and said, "Good evening, everybody." But this was better than me walking in and them shouting, "Criterion!" Wizard make performance technology joke. Sadly, changing my name didn't work too well either, except I did get a long-running TV series out of it. I even tried to take others under my wing to school the ignorant. Whatever happened to that boy? Got a real job in a shoe store, probably. He was able to complete our year's apprentice program in 32 months. Now I brag about this one success. To be fair, I must report several could not make it through our apprentice program at all. Colleagues, does it trouble you a tiny that all these went on to become presidents of NSPI? Well, not all did. Alas, not being able to learn these people much sent me into a profound depression. Dropped out, exiled myself to a humble cave in Georgia to become the penniless wizard you see before you. Chagrined at the past, but haunted by positive visions of the future, until President Addison summoned me to play Merlin to his King Arthur, as I had predicted. He wanted to know the future before he too is cast in the oblivion of dethroned NSPI. Kings, colleagues, ye are all wizards. Well, perhaps not Mark Rosenberg. We do not have magic tricks, but we have a set of potentially powerful weapons to use in the coming battle for human accomplishment. But before we can precipitate my forecast performance revolution, this vision must and will come to pass. A performance-based analysis and design procedure for instruction has yet to be widely practiced. Knowledge-based instruction is a well-entrenched foe, but it is the first dragon we wizards must help King Arthur slay. To mix my legends, think about it. I predict that then a realization will come to mankind. If a quality improvement process does not emphasize analysis of human performance in the front end, then it's doomed to be a passive fad. Employee involvement empowerment, statistical process control, team-based improvement, and all the other buzzwords of quality are just that, words, unless there's a systematic process for meeting the laudable goals of TQM. Performance technology is that process. If you define performance technology as I do, and I know you do, because we wizards are rarely wrong, if small in number, if you believe it, say roll tide. There's a redneck on the woodpile. I predict we'll get around then to doing something perhaps now overdue. Before, National Society for Performance and Instruction is the linguistic and systems equivalent of the National Society for Transportation and Bicycles. Think about it. Soon after agreeing among ourselves that instruction is a subset of performance, I predict this will come to pass. Well, at least that was a suggestion I gave them recently. They were a little reluctant. But they'll come around before the 21st century. And speaking of reluctance, I've had perhaps the most shocking vision of them all. Now I once talked to a faculty of a major university about just such a possibility. I described in incredibly lucid terms about how we should derive such a curriculum and the content for it by first analyzing the performance of an accomplished performance technologist. Modesty forbade me to attach a name. Then it would be dragging suit to use one of our instructional design models to produce the curriculum. In fact, it would be as easy as A, B, C, D. A wave of apathy swept across me that day. The dean of the school said, "What you describe is training. This is an educational institution. We aren't concerned here about performance." It might take a while for this headline to appear. Speaking of education, education colleagues is ripe, if not ready for us. Most think to improve education, we must only improve how content is taught. I submit a more fundamental question must first be addressed. What will make the revolutionary difference is a complete revamp of what we teach. And that is a matter of some massive front-end analysis that no one, I repeat, no one is doing, present company accepted. I have a vision that someday this issue of our quarterly will appear. What might a curriculum look like if we first accomplished citizen as education's desired product. You and I are Merlins. We are the king or queen's wizards. Who will be education's king author? President Bush pledged to be, and nothing came out of it except the recommendations of a blue ribbon panel who said, teach the same old stuff, no better. As we say in Georgia, that old dog can no longer hunt. Who indeed will be education's king or queen author? Whose round table we all sit at? I know, because I'm now having that vision. God, that's not Eileen. But the article says she writes his books anyway. Would Eileen and Bob please stand? Mayor, we challenge you to accept this nomination. Do you accept? Colleagues, Major. From now on, I'll take that as a yes. From now on, please address Bob as Mr. Secretary. Your Excellency will do fine for me. Please rise, colleagues, for a final invitation. Until that day this headline becomes a reality, I must now go back to my humble king to raise revenues for the coming revolution and to deal with these 10,000 dragons in my head and to report to Mrs. Wizard how you vote tonight. She wants to have me committed. Speaking of commitment, please pledge your support of the coming revolutions. Please repeat after me. I support the revolution.
I support the revolution.
I will send $10,000 Please continue standing. If you agree with Mrs. Wizard's diagnosis and/or have decided not to send me $10,000, please vote by loud applause